Hey, happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to Drag Racing Live, where we bench race with the world's top drag racers. I'm here with John Bachman, of course, and tonight we feature Mendy Fry, one of the most accomplished women in drag racing history, the subject of a new documentary called Time Trials, a dragstrip requiem. From record-setting nostalgia top fuel runs on the NHRA Heritage Series and championships in that series, to her more recent adventures and the personal story behind the film, Mendy's joining us again for a deep dive into a remarkable racing career. By the way, Mendy was here a long time ago on the old Racing and Rockin' show. We just looked it up in 2008. A dear, dear friend, and so glad to have you on. Mendy Fry, welcome back to the show.
Thanks so much. I can't believe it's been since 2008, but here we are, right? A little grayer.
By the way, Mendy was here a long. Well, we look. Whoops, there we go. Yeah, we're a little grayer, a little like. I mean, I don't know if I'm any less bald.
Yeah.
I started
I
going.
think you've been rocking the dome for a while now. Yeah.
Rocking the dome. That's it. Well, Mendy, I just I didn't get through all of it, but I watched a large part of the video today, and it's really, really amazing. And oh my gosh, it's like I feel, video is so weird because it's like we were just hanging out, it seems to me, right? And it's such a moving film, but I want to talk all about it. But let's just do an overview for folks who may not know you. You've won championships, you've set records, driven some of the quickest nostalgia fuel cars ever built. Indeed, I don't know if that ET's been bettered. And now there's a movie about your life. So when you look back at your journey, what part surprises you the most?
Hmm. I think what surprises me the most is that it took like 34 years, right, to get to a competitive level in Top Fuel. But oh my gosh, it just feels like it went by in the blink of an eye. So it shocks me that I'm 57. And when I was 16-year-old Mendy Fry, getting ready to get into a top alcohol dragster back in those days. And so yeah, I think what's shocking is just how quickly it's gone by.
It is amazing. We were just talking about the evaporation of time between 2008 and 2026 when we talked. And but I do remember all those years. Now, I didn't know you the whole time, but I certainly remembered the teen, in the fast roadster and the at least young 20s perhaps, when you drove the top alcohol dragsters to some of the quickest times in the sport, and you made a lot of headlines back then. So
I
there's
made drag list.
that's right. Oh, well, we have a new research manager called Rob McCabe, and he was sending us a note today. He says, "Oh my gosh, Mendy's all over the drag line." Oh yeah, she is. And so yeah, we're proud to list you and proud to rank you way up high. Well,
Oh, thanks so much.
let's talk a little bit about the film because again, it was just amazing. It's called Time Trials, a drag strip requiem. How did it come about, and what was it like having your life and career captured on screen by Cole Coons, who we know and love, and the production team?
Yeah, so I mean, it didn't start out with the intent of making a movie at all. In fact, Cole was approached by Tom Sheelar and Bob McLennan of the All American Field Dragsters to cover that class and to promote it for the Heritage Series. And it was that was in 2017, and so Cole observed at the time that like it wasn't about print media anymore, that things were going video was going to be the most effective method. And so he assembled a ragtag crew, including Les Mayhew, which pretty much
Mhm.
everyone in drag racing knows, and Whit Bazemore, who's fantastic in the movie. And they just went event by event, chronicling what's going on in the teams. They had amazing access into all the teams. And I mean, they were there so frequently that like you just didn't notice them, right? And so I think that that's why it comes off so personal because none of it's scripted. I mean, these are the real candid moments, and there's such an an amazing amount of them because they're putting together kind of episodics for each race. And and then, our team hit had a very tragic moment in 2019, and which kind of turned this this footage into the makings of a movie. If we had not had that tragic moment, there wouldn't be a movie. And I kind of wish there wasn't a movie.
Right.
If that hadn't happened, I'd probably still be racing. But it did, and I think that the movie really does Tom Sheeler's legacy the right way, you know, and uh, and how does it feel to be, in a movie? It's it's really I don't know. I don't like the attention, but at the same time, I know that it's a story that needed to be told, right? But
Mhm.
it does make me feel incredibly vulnerable, especially to be in the same room with people that are watching it, because I just don't know how to act, you
Right.
know. But yeah, so that's how it feels.
It was, again, I didn't see all of it, and I made it through all of 2017. So of course I didn't see the tragic, 2019 with Tom's passing, but it was very raw, and you could really tell that the folks, behind the camera had just insider access to every moment, and it was unfiltered, right? It was like, heartbreak and disappointment and of course success and cheers. But the relationship between you and Tom was really wonderful to see. We sort of heard about it, but you can't really see it until you see the movie, which was just
Yeah,
terrific.
yeah, I miss him every day. Um, and hats off to Whit Bazemore too, because he's the one that was capturing a lot of those candid moments, especially the top end, in the
Mhm.
interviews where instead of just inserting himself into the moment, I mean, Whit is, he's a racer. He knows that you're processing information real time about what just happened. He knows that there's going to be conversations at the top end, and it's better to allow those conversations to happen than to try and create those moments artificially. And we all trust Wit too.
Mhm.
We're all friends, and we know that he's got the racer's perspective. And so I think, like you said, I think that that's why, it just plays out in front of you. Like the footage tells the story. It in the beginning in 2017, there is some what they call a Greek chorus. You've got experts in the field that are talking about racing in general, and um, but once it establishes kind of those footholds, right? There's less and less and less of that, and it's more just this beautifully shot footage, and the sound is really lovely too. The soundtrack is amazing, which Cole did.
It was great. And so a couple thoughts come to mind. Number one, Whit Bazemore surprised me. I mean, when he popped up as one of the interviewers, I hadn't heard about his involvement even back then. And it was great to see him because, yeah, he hit just the right notes. I was really impressed. And, when you're sitting in there, he's sitting in there with Tony Bartone, after a tough, tough loss. And, Bartone comes along just like the Long Island guy he is, right?
Yeah.
He's he's a tough nut, and it really covered that well, right? His relationship and the kind of the tension and the competitiveness between the two teams. That was pretty great. But that was Whit Bazemore, and I was really surprised by that. Not that he was even involved, which was really a nice touch.
Well, Whit, a lot of people don't know he's an accomplished still photographer,
Right,
but he did a great job behind a camera and also behind a microphone. I don't know that anybody else could have gotten that interview out of Tony,
right.
you
Yeah.
know, in
Well, you
that
need
moment.
probably need someone as tough as Whit was when he was driving, because he was
Right.
he was no daisy, behind the wheel or in front of the microphone himself. So that's so great. The one thing that also is pops in my mind is some of the beautiful photography they do. I've never seen these angles anywhere else. Like the underneath the funny car, when popped a blower at least, right? But it was
Mhm.
shot underneath the car, where to the rest of the world, for me, all the time I've been in drag, that body closes, you don't see underneath it. But this was actually the camera angle was towards you from like right, I guess they put it right there behind the fuel tank at the front, but it was
Yeah.
perfect. And then of course when the motor went pow, and you got to see that, which you almost, I mean, never ever have I seen that. And it was really, you could really see how these things are kind of just, tossed, not tossed together, but they are not a solid thing. And when that thing comes apart, it really showed how angry that car was when
I
it was pulled
know.
apart.
I know. It is pretty impactful. I mean, when you see it from the outside, we've all seen funny cars blow up and disintegrate bodies and everything, but there's like that moment before it blows up inside where you see it first and just
Hmm.
what it does to the inside of the body. And you're right. I mean, they're basically just sitting there on a couple of braces, so when it goes. Uh, but a lot of the photography too was Les Mayhew.
Hmm.
That guy can keep a top fuel car in focus from when it leaves the starting line to it crosses the finish line to when it actually pulls out off of the track. Like, I don't know how he does it. And he had cameras on at all stages of the track, as well as putting GoPros on the cars and stuff too. So
Right. Yeah, Les is amazing. We featured a lot of his work over the years, and he's been kind. We're a volunteer organization here. Him and Dave Commel and Richard Suit and everybody, Steve Reyes, they all very, very generously share with us so that we can kind of keep the history going. But Les has been a lot of that, and it's amazing work. Well, let's talk. I mean, it was obviously we talked about some of the emotion of the documentary, but what is there anything in the finished film that really surprised you when you saw it on screen?
uh so full disclosure, Cole Kuntz and I are married,
Hmm.
and he worked on this film, for 5 years, and the last, year of it, that last push, it was pretty much every day, 12 hours a day, and he's editing from his room, either in our house or he has a studio in a trailer on the property. And I didn't see the film at all. I didn't have any input into the story, how it was being put together, what parts were to be used. None at all. So when I saw it for the first time, yeah, it was a real, sucker punch to the gut. But the one thing that we agreed upon is that if it's not real, it's not interesting.
Hmm.
And we did have great success, but we had quite a few moments that were pretty rough, and quite a few of them were my fault. Especially in 2017, I threw away a race by red lighting. There were a few races that had I not made mistakes, I think we might have had a different result in 2017 as well. I mean,
Hmm.
because we finished second. And
Yeah.
uh, and you know, I wasn't surprised that those moments were in there, but it's very cringy when you already had to go through the screw up once in real life, and then you have to watch it again on in the film.
Right.
Um, so the I obviously know what happens, but seeing it put together for the first time was just, yeah, it was really impactful to me.
Yeah. That's so amazing. Yeah, film doesn't lie, and I mean, I think we all sort of self-edit our memories on how things worked, but you did not have that luxury. It
I
was
did
right there.
not. I did not. It was so funny because Cole would get done editing for the day, and then I'd be I'd make dinner and we'd sit down and I'd think, this poor guy's been looking at my mug all day long. And now, he has to sit across the table from me and eat dinner. But yeah,
That's I don't think it's that tough for him to get through. But
he says it wasn't, but I can't imagine that it was. Some days he was really beaten up by it.
well, um, it's really great. Highest recommendation. I'm only halfway through. I want to see the rest after we're done tonight. But you didn't jump right into that top flight nostalgia dragster, right? You actually went through a number of cars, and you alluded to a little bit in the film, and we all sort of followed. Of course, we did followed you and listed you in every funny car you ran and stuff. But some of them, it seemed like some of them weren't always top notch. So what were some of the you've raced nitro cars for decades and alcohol before that, and but what was the craziest thing that's ever happened to you at the track or on the road or during a race weekend? Anything jump out that we
Mm,
haven't seen online already?
yeah. Um, this is in the film, but the input shaft braking was pretty crazy. That I've never experienced, and it that took me a hot second to process, like what was going on there. Um, but other than that, I mean, it's just kind of normal nitro car stuff, right? I
Mhm.
mean, you're going to have your fair share of explosions and fires and tire shake um, and if you do it long enough, crashes and stuff. So, the other thing too, I would say that first crash in the Roadster that I
Mhm.
had, that was really eye-opening. I think I was 19 years old when that happened, and uh, and we'd been undefeated up until that point. That was like our third year of competition in that. Now it's a class that doesn't exist anymore, but it was called Super Street. And is that what it's called? God, I can't remember the name of the class, but it was a street legal hot
Hmm.
rod, pre 50s hot rod. And all of the cars in that class were street legal. Uh, but we built an actual race car for that, a tubular chassis 4-link race car for that, where we were
Hmm.
racing against people that had, stock steel bodies and frames. So we had the class covered often, and we had just put a blower in that car and had a glide clutch in it, and so we had all kinds of problems, and we weren't even qualified yet. And I went out and it just shook the ever loving daylights out of it, and I thought I could drive through it, and
Mhm.
by the third pedal, that 4-link just hooked and took me over. Thank God it was a single, and took me across the track. And I swerved and not hit the wall a few times until it just flipped me over. And I just remember that moment when I lost it because I'd never crashed before. Uh, but I mean, I'm really glad that crash happened. So, I mean, it got my attention. You will never, ever, ever forget the sound of metal grinding against asphalt, which is the cage when you're upside down and seeing sparks hit the fuel injector,
Right.
sliding backwards. But if that crash hadn't happened, I think that I would have had a much worse crash later,
Hmm.
because it really taught me where that edge is and how to feel. It's so fun. That edge, I mean, they call it a knife edge for a reason, right? I mean, you've got it, you've got it, you've got it. Oh boy, I don't got it. And so it taught me a real respect and a feel for that I transferred to every other car that I drove, and especially front engine top fuel cars, because
Right.
they move around a lot,
A handful on the best of days.
Yeah, yeah.
I was, I saw that, I relived that with you today, and I was just, and it's interesting to learn about the blower on it because I was, one. as a layperson who wasn't behind the wheel, you're like, why doesn't she just get out of it, right? And of course,
Yeah.
I've been 19 too, believe me. I was doing crazy things when, I was triple 19, but like which is pretty close to where I am or a little more. But yeah, I mean, you don't know until you know. Maybe you'd had those kinds of deals before where you didn't have a blower on it and it was responding, it would get, tamed down a little bit, but
Yeah.
everybody, it's all easy until you're the guy or gal doing it, right? No, nobody, don't want to back, or what do they call it? A recliner, a quarterback that.
Yeah. Everything's easy on the Monday following when you're looking back at it, right? But yeah, so I'd say if you ask me what surprised me or my craziest moment, that would probably be it. I mean, everything else, you, you can't train for uh being oiled in until you get oiled in. You
Mhm.
can't train for going off the end of the racetrack until you go off the end of the racetrack. So you can talk to people and you can try and like figure out what you would do in that instance, but until you're faced with it, um, hopefully you react in the right way. And thankfully for me, other than the crash that, I caused by over driving a car when I was 19, um, I was able to react in the right way and do the right things to keep a bad situation from getting worse. Um, so Uh, yeah, that's it.
Well, you learned your lesson well, and you're here to share with everybody else, which we so appreciate. Folks, we're talking to Mendy Fry, the world famous Nitro Kitty. And get your questions and comments ready because JB is going to do a Q&A session here, probably about 10 minutes or so. And we're looking forward to hearing that. Mendy, I mean, we were chatting a little bit before the show, but what do you think about the modern Top Fuel experience? Have you ever had an opportunity to step up, if you will, to that series? And if I know you haven't undertaken it, I don't think, but what's your thoughts there? And is that something you might be interested in, or would have been interested in at one time, perhaps?
Um, so no, I've never hit the loud pedal on one of those things. And I absolutely wanted to. I mean, that's what my whole life's ambition was when I was a kid was to make it to that level. Um, we got close a couple times. I mean, we had the Simpatico beer,
Mhm.
Top Fuel Dragster in our backyard that we bought, and then because we thought we had a sponsor, and then that fell through. Yeah, I was like 17 years old then.
Wow.
And yeah, and then my father passed when I was 26, and I had already kind of seen the I started to get the sense that I wasn't going to make it. And so, at the time I was doing sheet metal work in Bob Meyer's chassis shop in
Hmm.
San Diego, building bodies and stuff for him. And I decided, I should probably go to college. Yeah, I got a degree in accounting and started a career in public accounting, and then, moved from that into accounting and finance for the next, 30 years or so after that. And there was a point, Gary Metters called me in 2000 and said, "Hey, do you want to be the grand marshal of our event at Sears Point?" And which is my hometown track.
Uh-huh.
And so I jumped at the chance and then got a ride in junior fuel and started racing again. And so I did make a concerted effort to get there one more time around then. And but once I landed a front engine top fuel ride, like there's just nothing like one of those cars. And I get that they're half the horsepower or even less than half the horsepower of a modern day car, but it's just they still go a quarter mile,
Hmm.
and I'm not gonna diss the modern top fuel experience. I don't know that I can because I've never truly experienced it, sitting in a car. I
Hmm.
mean, those cars are extremely fast. Um, and even now when they only go 1,000 feet, I mean, my God, they're just like so fast, But I I personally think they're less interesting than the front edge and top fuel. I just do, I don't know. I think that I think front edge and top fuel's funner to watch because more can happen. I mean, modern day car it either it either hooks and goes or it doesn't.
Yeah. It goes or it don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was Yeah, I think you're right. And my popping in my head, I'm trying to do some math in my head, but regardless of where the engine sits, I mean, you are, until they went to 1,000 feet, you're way up there in terms of some of the quickest cars who've ever gone down the drag strip at a quarter mile for sure. And, I mean, we followed Garlits and Karamessinis and Shirley and all these other folks for years and years and years, and we're thrilled when they hit the fives, in the early
Hmm.
70s, and thrilled when they hit 250 and 260. And you were right there, but you were living that in a front engine car. By the way, nobody else got to do that, right? Nobody else got to run those kind of numbers in a front motored car. So, I mean, you rose to the very top of the heap in your particular, segment of this sport.
Well, I'm
And
proud to say that I still own the record too. So the
yeah,
first, a 549 and
I love it.
265. I think there's some controversy as whether 265, my 265 is the record or not. So I'll say it's not,
Well, it's
but
there. Well, watching your Tulsa run, you may hate me for this or love me, but watching your win in Tulsa, congrats in 2017, by the way. But I had for years had that listed as 268.47. Only when I had to take 10 miles an hour off
oh.
when I when I watched the video today, and I'm like, yeah, but and then so now I got to go back and find your Bakersfield time because the 259 was at the time, ended up being a little bit faster for 17 at least. But
Yeah.
so cool. Where are we at? 827. Let me ask one more. Let me ask one more question, and we'll go to John and bring in some Q&A. Um, but we were just talking about the speeds, right? You're the only woman to run a 5-second quarter mile in a front engine nostalgia fuel dragster. Way, by the way, your lower half of the fives, by the way, not the top half of the fives, 549, and a member of the 250-mile-an-hour club. But of all those numbers, what accomplishments means the most to you today?
Um, Absolutely the 549 is is amazing. I mean, the fact that no one's been able to accomplish that. I mean, it's just an absolute testament to the way that Tom ran his operation.
Mhm.
And so that is a big one. Winning the championship in 2018, that was my biggest achievement in Top
Mhm.
Fuel, or in my racing career at the time, and then finishing, repeating in 2019. I'm pretty proud of those two things. It was so funny because in 2018, or excuse me, 2019, at the March meet after winning the championship in 2018, I'm walking onto the Bakersfield property and people are calling me champ. And I was just like, I can't, uh, oh my God, yeah, like I know I am, but like other people are looking at me that way, and it was weird. It was really
Yeah,
weird.
I love it. It was so cool. It's the hero driver, as Patty Foster always said. But
Oh, love Pat.
aren't we fortunate to know so many bitchin' people? And
Absolutely.
I
Yeah. A
count
lot of
myself
characters.
fortunate to know you. Um,
Aw.
let's go to JB, Johnny Bockelman, and our chat bleachers out there. Who's out there, John? What do they have to say?
Oh, we got a real nice crowd here tonight, and there's some really good conversations going on. First of all, Megan Gianni says, "Hi, Bill and Mendy." And she says, "Nitro Kitty forever."
Aw, Megan is a sweetheart. I've known her since she was 4. She used to bring me pictures that she'd color, and I'd stick them on the trailer wall inside where I mix nitro.
And let's see, Rob McCabe is with us, and he had a lot to say. He's our statistician, and he looked up a lot of your history in the sport. He said, "Good evening, all. Mendy is legendary. I found results from the '85 Golden Gate Nationals at Baylands when she ran Outlaw 790 and made it to the semis against Jeff Gillette."
Jeff Gillette drove for my dad when I was too young to drive. So
So that's the Jeff that you took over for. In the
yes,
in the vid in the documentary, your dad talks about it was built for Jeff, but then Mendy
that's
took
right.
over.
That's right. And Jeff drove that Roadster before me too. But yeah, so he was a fixture when I was like 13, 14, 15 years old.
I got to hand it to Rob, man. That goes back a ways. He said, "I know I'll probably go through a lot of her stuff from the mid to late '80s when I get the chance to resume and fix the many '80s recaps." And
Well, if I came out on top like the last one, just he could just leave it.
Yeah.
so Mendy Fry, this is your life.
Yes.
you know, he said, "I remember seeing something about Mendy going to Top Fuel in the National Dragster bits from the pits. I believe it was in 1991."
Yeah, we thought that's like I said, we thought we were going, we were this close, you know. But
He said, "I'll have to
didn't
go
happen.
through my National Dragster boxes to see where I saw the clipping."
Yeah.
And you had mentioned, see, I don't get to hear everything y'all are talking about because I'm writing stuff into the notes from the chat board and everything. But Rich Panicaro said Mendy is right about that. I would rather see the front engine cars.
Hmm.
And Rob came back and said, "Unfortunately, we don't get much nostalgia Top Fuel in the Northeast." He said, "I wish there was. We pretty much have the funny cars." And that's
Hmm.
not to say anything against funny cars because they're
Oh,
awesome.
funny cars are
And
badass too. I personally prefer the dragster, having driven both, but funny cars, they're fun, definitely.
that's true. And Rob followed that up. He said, "The only front engine dragster I get to see are like backseat drivers and East Coast fuelers, but not much nitro."
Yeah. Those are
And
those are two circuits we have here. Those are some pretty cool guys and gals that have some cool cars. But yeah, they're you know not the nitro.
now I took your Nitro Kitty logo from the 2008 graphic and put it in this one. And I was I forgot what I was going to ask you, but it must not have been very important. Oh yeah, yeah. From the 2008 graphic, there was a funny car. It was a Dodge Charger,
Yeah,
and
yeah, that
you
was
were
the
driving.
Future Flash.
Oh, okay.
Hmm. Gary Messenger's Future Flash, and that was and Donnie Couch was the crew chief on that. That was my first funny car ride. That was 2008. Yep.
Good stuff. Taking us back. You know you're in trouble when you got history, when with your guests talking about history the first time. It's like all
Yeah,
of
well,
us
I
in
should be
nostalgia.
able to remember these things, but it's been a lot of tire shake.
Oh, that's why I write them all down and throw them in a database and have smart people like Rob go check my work. But thanks, John. Anybody else with a thought or yourself?
Well, me. Front engine cars are the true icons of our sport, in my opinion. And Mendy Fry is one of the top drivers of all time in that class. And we're just real proud that you're with us.
Aw, you're gonna make me blush. Thank you. But I couldn't agree with you more about the front engine Top Fuel cars.
They rock. Well, thank you,
They
John. Thank you,
thump, man.
guys.
That's all right. We're
I'm
caught
sorry.
up for
Say
the
that like I
moment on the
talked right
chat.
over you, Mendy. What was the last thing you said?
I said they thump.
I
They
thought.
thump.
Awesome. Well, let's talk about let's move beyond 2019. So the documentary touches on something a lot of racers eventually face, stepping away from competition. So when you retired from driving at the end of 2019, was that a difficult transition? And how's your relationship with the sport changed since then?
It was a difficult transition. but it's one that I had done before. I had taken like a 6 or 7 year hiatus before, kind of to focus on a career outside of racing, and which was the absolute smartest thing I could have ever done. And but this time, anytime a decision is made for you, it's kind of hard to swallow, especially
Mhm.
one that's done, because of tragedy. And and I did have some interest, in other cars, other people kind of offering me things to drive. And I just made up my mind that like I I've had the best car in the class that I want to run, with one of my best friends in the world, and nothing was really going to top it, and there's something to be said for getting out when you're on top,
Mhm.
as opposed to when it's like when is that moment? When is, I mean, are they gonna rip the steering wheel out of my cold dead hands, or when do you step away? So it's like, I had a pretty bad blower explosion in March of 2019, and it gave me a concussion,
Mm.
and recovering from that was eye-opening. It took a beat to be able to string sentences together,
Mm.
and so I got really lucky that I never took a real hard lick that left me with any kind of permanent damage, or a missing limb or anything. And I don't say that it sounds macabre, but it can absolutely happen, right? I never got burned really bad, or um and you're at 50s when I stepped out. It's like, I don't know. I just made the decision to get out, but it was really hard. I had a massive identity crisis, because
Mm.
this is what I spend all my free time, my free brain space thinking about. Even though we only go 6, 7 races a year, there's shop days, and
Right.
and so I ended up gardening. Yeah, because it also happened right around the pandemic. So I grew pretty much all of our food for
Mhm.
a few years there. But I think I answered your question, right? You asked, what is it? Was there a second part to your question?
Yeah, it's, how has your relationship with the sport
Oh,
changed since then?
yeah. I am a horrible spectator. Horrible. I have gone to the races a few times. I did right side of the engine for Pete Kaiser
Hmm.
in 2023, when his kid broke his collarbone. And oh my God, that is so hard. We went to the final, and so we tore that thing apart with qualifying 5 times. And I just, driving is so much easier than that. It's so stressful. It's just like, my time to screw up as a driver is only like 5.5 seconds, but like, you got 90 minutes where you screw up and like the driver can die, or you just lose the race, you know. Um, I organized a memorial for my dear friend Allison Lee in
Hmm.
2024. That was also at the California Hot Rod Reunion, and miss her terribly. And then I help Cindy Gibbs out with Nitro Revival every year, So that's kind of the extent of, that's enough, that's
Yeah,
enough.
you're keeping your hand in. I love that you were working on the motor, because oh my gosh, I mean, yeah, you got 90 minutes. You're on the clock, right? You got to get it done, and you got to get it done right. And that was actually in the film as well, right? Where it talked about, I guess, Whit Bazemore, but very, as Whit Bazemore does, was very frank about it. He says, "Hey, you screw up, you put the oil plug in a little loose, and you can kill your driver, or lose the race. It's a team sport, but you have everybody has to contribute." And that's
You're only
man,
as good as your weakest link,
right.
right?
So amazing. And love Allison Lee. I was so, again, I've been so honored, as a drag racing fan since I was a little kid. I know, Jim and Allison Lee, and I know Mendy Fry, and I know all these folks. So I was able to meet Jim and Allison many times, and she was still out there rocking and rolling, wasn't she? Um,
She was a real role model for me, that's and to get to know her, because we raced in the same class
mhm,
as her grandson, Tyler.
mhm.
And it was just, I couldn't believe it. Like I went over there to meet her and she acted like I'd known her my entire life. She was just awesome, you know.
She's amazing. And she's from horse country. She's a high class lady, but she will spin a wrench like with the best of them, and just never met a stranger.
And she was a tennis pro
Yeah, really. I didn't
on
that
on a
no,
on
that
a
I didn't
seniors
know.
on a seniors tour. Yeah. It's pretty great.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, so that's so great. Well, we you were talking about helping P. Kaiser, which is amazing. But tell us about when Donnie Couch sort of said he,
Oh,
he came up wanted to interview you, and you kind of
yeah.
set him straight.
No, and it was that weekend that I was working on Pete Kaiser's car. I didn't tell anybody I was going to the track, and so people would walk by and they'd see me. And Donnie was one of them. He was doing the Good Vibrations show there, and so we caught up because we've raced
Mhm.
together on a couple of cars, and and then he says, "Hey, come on by. We'll talk to you on the show, do an interview." And I was just like, "I'm not doing that. Kidding me?" And he's like, "Why not? Like your fans would like to hear from you." And I'm just like, I don't have to do that anymore. I'm working on the car now. I'm not the driver. Interview the driver. Not me.
Well, we have to get the driver on here as well then. But we got lucky. So suck it, Couch. We got Mendy, and you didn't. Donnie's a great guy. So I saw him at Nitro Revival 2 years ago at the last Irwindale. So
Yeah,
amazing.
he's a character.
They're all character. That's what makes this sport so
I
amazing.
know.
Well, let's talk about you now. Let's talk about legacy. I mean, we chatted about, already about what you'd like to be remembered by to for the championship and the 549. But after all the records, championships, and years in nitro racing, what gives you the most satisfaction today? The accomplishments behind the wheel, or maybe helping preserve the sport for future generations?
I definitely the where I made it to in front engine top fuel, absolutely. But I'm really enjoying my life outside of racing now. I know it's kind of boring, but I'm the treasurer of a local museum here that captures the history of the area that I live in now, which is in the Joshua Tree area. And just being part of my community and being a good daughter to my mom, who I have her near me now, which is great. It's the first time we've lived near each other for like 35, um, yeah, 35 years.
Nice.
And being a good friend and someone that folks can rely on.
You're amazing. Well, let's talk one more thing about the documentary. I'm having trouble with that word tonight, but one of the themes of the film, the video, or the film, it's a film. But one of the themes that comes through is that racing's not just about driving the car, right? Looking at your life today now, do you feel the film is really about racing, or is it more about identity, purpose, and kind of what comes next?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a racing film. There's lots of racing in it, right? But I think that why people identify with it and what we've seen is non-racers are really, and women, non-racing women are really identifying with it. And I think it's more about um, transcending one's circumstances. You know,
Hmm.
when life gives you really tough stuff, right? It's how you meet that challenge, how you get through it. And it's also about teamwork and uh, friendship and so everyone, none of us are getting out of this deal alive, you know. But some moments are a lot harder than others, you know. But it really is about resilience and staring down. You can take, there's a moment that I talk about the first time that I got into a top fuel car. And I'd been lobbying for 2 years around all the teams to give me a shot, you know.
Hmm.
And when Tom Sheelar and Frank Root Beer Hedge did give me a shot in the Mastercam car, and strap me in. It's midnight in Vegas, and I'm going to make my first, like 100 footer. I was terrified. Like I really, I almost got out, and but the engine started and you do the burnout and then you calm down and you realize you can do it,
Hmm.
but so it is about that. It is about staring down your fears and just digging deep and getting through it, right?
I love it. And for our listeners, a lot of racers out there, we really do have a mostly racer and professional kind of audience, at least on the live show. And we love everybody though. But to for them and others trying to improve or maybe determined to try to do something like this, whether it's racing or anything else, what's the one lesson you've learned about preparation, focus, or resilience that can help somebody become better at what they do, whether they're racing or not?
Well, yeah, you got to do the work, right? You got to do the work, and you can't ever give up, because it it you're going to have stumbling blocks. You're going to have barriers to entry. You're going to screw up. You just got to get back on the horse and try again, no matter how hard it might seem. Um, so that would be the number one thing. There's a saying that practice makes perfect, but really perfect practice makes perfect.
Hmm.
So I drove a lot of cars leading up to getting the ride in the high speed car with Tom. And some of them were less prepared, than others. Some of them had less experienced staff. Definitely, a few had a very low budget. So well, I had um, over a decade of experience in that class or in funny car. It wasn't until I got to Tom's car and that I really started to get some, I think, real driving chops,
Hmm.
because first of all, you only run 6, 7 times a year, so if you're not going rounds, then you're not getting laps. And
Right.
and then some of the laps that, I was getting, the cars were underperforming as well. And so it's like you're creating pathways and learning the wrong way, if that makes
Right.
any sense,
Sure.
um, so yeah, practice, perfect practice makes perfect.
Well, that's awesome.
And
Yeah, you don't want to do the wrong thing over and over again and lock
yeah,
that in.
yeah. And the final thing I will say is that drag races are won in the shop.
Hmm.
You know, you you do all this work, you prepare, you prepare, you prepare, you prepare, and then you get to the track, and ultimately something is going to go wrong. And so the more work that you've done in the shop is you're going to have more success.
Got it. Yeah, you got to have the goods. you know.
And you
Well, let's
have to surround yourself with great people. Tom really was a consummate leader, and he picked a team that really worked well together. And sometimes it was, not the most skilled person as much as it was the person that fit a spot and fit a bit of chemistry, fulfilled a bit of chemistry that maybe was missing.
gotcha. And that's very important, isn't it? It's not just nuts and bolts. We're humans. Well, let's talk about shout outs. I mean, and you've had a gigantic career. I mean, in length and in breadth of all the people you've raced with, but family, crew chiefs, car owners, sponsors, teammates across the decades. Anyone you want to recognize that we haven't chatted about already?
Oh, oof, there's just it's so many to list, It's so many to list. Um, I really am grateful to Frank Hedge, Root Beer for giving me my first shot. And it was Frank and Walt Stevens and Tom, for giving me my first shot in Top Fuel and for everybody that gave me a shot in their car, and trusted it with me. Ron Johnson, I don't know if you know who that is, but he is one of the people with that started the Cackle Fest, and which became now, kind of it became Nitro Revival. Uh, he gave me my first ride coming back since I'd been gone for so many years, and that was was really tremendous. And Sean Bellemere and Troy Green, they stepped up when Tom died and took over the tuning responsibilities for the car.
Oh, that's great.
So we got ourselves to Tulsa a month later, and it was crazy. Half the team couldn't get on a plane because there was a hurricane, and it was canceled. So they just got in a car and drove
Mm,
from San Diego to Tulsa and got there like an hour or two before we were supposed to run. And the computer didn't work. Like we had a lot of things go wrong. But they really stepped up, and Patrick Sheelar, Tom's son, because he wanted us. It was his idea. He was like, I want you to go to Tulsa and win it. It's gonna make me cry. And so yeah, those are some big shout outs. Also want to give a shout out to Rugged Entertainment, the film's distributor.
mhm.
Um, that's it's huge. It's on Amazon Prime. It's on Google Play Movies and YouTube Movies, and that's pretty tremendous.
Yeah, and that was my next question. So you're prescient there. And so folks go find it. It is amazing. I will throw some links in our comment section so you can be sure to find it. Again, I watched it today. It was amazing. And let me do a shout out to Cole Kuntz, who I know, it's the hubby now. It wasn't when we met, right? But I was so glad to hear that. It was when, we've all experienced it with two people you really like it together. It's always nice. But one of the best writers that you, especially in motorsports, that you ever want to read. If you ever get a chance to read some of Cole's books, they're unbelievable. Just a great dude. And I know he's super proud and to have you.
Wow, thank you. I'm so proud of him. This was a slog, he was the Swiss Army knife of of filmmakers. He was the editing department, the sound department, the writer, you know what I mean? Like it was all him. And it didn't come easy, but he made something really beautiful.
It is amazing. John, we're about to say farewell here to Mendy and let her get on with her day, but any final thoughts from you or from the team out there?
Well, this has been a wonderful time. We've been off for 2 weeks, and to come back with Mendy Fry, don't get no better than that.
Aw, thanks, John.
Thank you, John. And so, Mendy, let's, as a final wrap up, what are your thoughts for the fans and anyone else listening? What should they be watching for from Mendy Fry in the future?
I don't know, right? I don't
Ni-
know.
Nitro Revival, maybe? Are we
Yeah,
going to see a Bakersfield?
absolutely Nitro Revival. I will be there with bells on. Cindy Gibbs, Steve Gibbs, they do such a great job with that. And it's back, at home, kind of full circle with the California Hot Rod Reunion. It is the most fun that you can legally have. So definitely, definitely, I'll see you there.
We'll see you there. Let's make that our last word. Mendy Fry, thank you so much for visiting with us. What a pleasure to see you again, my friend.
Thank you.
Have an awesome summer, and we'll see you in the fall.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Mendy Fry. Let's say farewell. And oh my gosh, she's unbelievable. John, let's turn it over to you for this week's JB's Take and the Racer of the Week.
Thanks, BP. Unfortunately, I had to postpone our Racer of the Week until next Monday. We tried repeatedly to make a connection, but it just didn't happen. I look forward to featuring Sasha and Skylar Cerny next Monday. Tonight I'm delivering my take on my quarter of a century with this amazing website and group. It'll be impossible to condense 25 years of constant activity into a few minutes. I have to do my best to express my thoughts on the incredible life journey I've experienced, and I hope I do it well. I apologize in advance if I leave out some highlights, as there are so many I just can't recall all of them. So here goes. I don't remember what I did before I joined Draglist. I joined in 2001. I was looking for information about fuel altereds, and the links I found took me to the draglist.com website. I was blown away by the size, depth, and incredible detail that it had. I went to the forum, and a post by Jim Folke known as Bandit that had the heading, "The First Time I Smelled Nitro." I signed up as Wildcat One, as at that time one of the bands I played in was called Johnny B and the Wildcats. I made my post and it got positive replies from Bandit and the admin, who turned out to be our own Bill Pratt. I came back every day. I made friends. I found out soon that it was where I belonged. I started to contribute graphics. That activity developed into a lifelong pursuit that continues to evolve to this day. Over the years, I've enjoyed many great moments with Draglist. The Draglist Super Crew held annual events where we would all gather at a designated location and spend a weekend hanging out and enjoying a drag racing meeting. I attended 4 of them, and I didn't want them to end. In early 2003, we put on a musical benefit called Blues for Becky to raise money for Becky White's expenses following a car accident. We sent her $5,000. That weekend was a wonderful experience for us all. The Draglist Nationals became an annual pilgrimage for the Super Crew, and we all looked forward to gathering together for a weekend of friendship and frolic. We had great times together. The Super Crew is featured in my graphic behind me in this segment, where we're in the winner's circle at MIR. Then in 2009, Bill Pratt and Jeff Gilder with Racers Reunion Radio teamed up to create Racin' and Rockin' with Draglist.com. It has evolved over the years to what it is now called Drag Racing Live, which is what we're doing right now. Over the course of the last 16 years, we've featured interviews with the world's top drag racers, and I have been privileged to meet and hang out with all of them. Our team consists of Bill Pratt, myself, Kay Thurkelson, Rob McCabe, Pete Moriello, and Sophia Rhoda, working behind the scenes to produce the show and get our guests scheduled for the show. It's been a great success. In 2013, I came up with a feature called Racer of the Week. In my segment, I feature a racer from the sportsman ranks of drag racing. As of today, I've featured over 400 racers from all over the planet, and I've made lasting friendships that validate the idea that all drag racers are part of one big family. I've been honored to have my graphics applied to a pro stock car that ran the U.S. Nationals. I've been an artist all my life, and with Draglist, I have found a permanent outlet for my creativity. It's been an endless stream of pictures and artwork that has fulfilled my purpose. Along with my music and posters for bands, at this point in life, I'm doing what I always wanted to do. It doesn't get any better than this for me. My friendships and partnering with our past producers, Barb Santucci, Bud Mr. Drag News DeBoer, George the Stone Age Man Hutcherson, Jeff and Dustin Gilder, and not least, the great Danny White. They have inspired me to give my best to Draglist. I'm grateful to Bill for bringing me into this Draglist family. He is the brother I always needed, and his advice and guidance have kept me in place as a member of the team. I want to acknowledge Danny White as one of my closest friends for 10 years until his untimely passing. We chatted on Facebook every day, all day, up until the last moment he was alive. Losing Danny broke my heart, but I know he watches over me and all of us from his heavenly perch. Love to you, brother. And thanks to our friends with Draglist and Drag Racing Live. Without y'all, we wouldn't be doing this. When I was 12 years old, I had a vision of myself as a man. I saw myself working in a studio making graphics every day, writing stories, and playing music. 64 years later, I'm the guy I had in that vision. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. It's been a wonderful party. And here's to another 25 years. Everybody stay safe and well. You are the most important part of this show, and we love you all. It's a great way to spend an hour together on a Monday night. I hope y'all had a safe and peaceful Memorial Day weekend. We'll see y'all June the 8th. God bless America. Back to you, BP.
Thank you, John. Much appreciated, sir. What a wonderful tribute, and thanks so much. You are the heart and soul of this operation, and proud to call you my brother. Thank you so much. We did, and by the way, for those who saw the post, Brett Kepner reminded us that we just went over 41 years of doing the drag list, back to our booklet days. We did 10 years as a booklet, and then we came out on the web in 96 and been here ever since. So and of course, Brett's a huge, huge part of this as well. But thank you so much, John. Um, let's move on and talk about some cool stuff, events and more. A great time at Maryland International Raceway for the NHRA Potomac Nationals this weekend. Congratulations to all the winners. I was really proud to show off my local area and the drag strip I've called home since 1986. It looked great on TV. All the racers I talked to thought it was just amazing, and you could really see lots of pride. We packed the place on Saturday. Meyer is a Saturday track. It loves Saturdays all the way to the wee hours, and folks didn't let us down. So got to talk to a lot of the NHRA stars at a meet and greet on Thursday night. Took some little video snips, so take a look at those. I got to see tons and tons of my lifelong friends in drag racing, and it was just a lot of fun. And of course, lots of stars of the NHRA stayed out of their way as they were working hard, but the Thursday night was a lot of fun. Check out our YouTube channel for some of those short interviews. They're a lot of fun. Coming up this week, Miss K and I are attending the HPX 2026 Automotive Trade Show in Charlotte, North Carolina. We'll be there tomorrow. I get up at dark 30 to head to the airport, fly in Baltimore to Charlotte, and we're going to go through Thursday. So Miss K is working hard, getting folks lined up for us to talk to, and we'll try to do a number of live interviews from the show. Well, when I say live, we'll record them at the show, and then we'll put them up on our YouTube channel. But already in talks with our friend Ida Zetterstrom, who will be speaking at the Women in Motorsports event in the morning. I will get there a little later, but Kay will cover that. And then Ida will make some time to chat with us a little bit later. And anyone else we can find. It's a lot of our recent guests will be there. So Destiny Spurlock is down there, as I understand, and we're going to go find all the people we want to talk to and bring them to you. So look forward to meeting and greeting the best in the business. If you are there, let's sync up. you can hit me on Facebook, message, and we'll come find you. But the HPX 2026 Automotive Trade Show down in Charlotte, North Carolina, tomorrow through Thursday, and really excited. And that'll be the first time I get to meet Miss K in person. I feel like I know her because of all the videos we do back and forth, but this is going to be amazing. And speaking of our YouTube channel, the Drag Racing Live YouTube channel just went over 150,000 views. That is from, 17,000 at the beginning of March. So thanks to our amazing social media apprentices. John mentioned Sophia Roveda, but she has moved on in her career. It was a 90-day gig, and now we brought two young men on to help create the videos for one thing, and then to help distribute them. So you'll be seeing these guys. They're just got invited to the Drag Racing List page and all of our groups, and they're Jeffrey Cormier and Uriel Yamashiro. And so welcome aboard, guys. Glad to have you with us. They're going to help us create and share these great video clips. Folks, you can help us grow by going to the Drag Racing List YouTube channel, which you are on right now. Subscribe, please, and tell your friends. Let them know we're here. But yeah, we're up to like 764 subscribers today. We keep growing a few a week, but 150,000. And by the way, a couple other stats we just got today was very cool. We are in the top 5% of content on the web for YouTube channels that have fewer than 1,000 subscribers. So we're small but mighty. So really thanks to all, and really, really good stuff. So let's talk about our upcoming guests. And we have packed out several shows. So listen up. Here's who's coming, and it's Joachim Lundberg, sorry, sir, a European pro comp racer now running funny cars in the United States. That's next Monday night, June 8th. I'm really looking forward to him, and I'm looking forward to hearing him say his name so I cannot screw it up. But really excited to have him aboard. On the 15th, Elon Warner, the PR guru and drag racing bracket bonanza guy. Matter of fact, I saw Elon over the weekend. Nitro Joe Morrison was giving me a ride up to the tower so that I could see the alcohol qualifying, and we ran into Elon and had a couple of good words there. So looking forward to having Elon on. He sends his regrets for last week. He was supposed to be our guest last week, but he got bumped on his flight and was actually in the air during the show. So looking forward to have Elon on. On the 22nd, Steve King of Pilot Racing. He's a pro mod champ, and he also does the Boost and Bullshit podcast. So looking forward to having Steve on. On the 29th of June, Jeff Atamian, the driver of the Beast jet car, the venerable jet car that's been racing on the West Coast for decades. And then coming up July 6th, we're going to be talking to Jim Danko of the Blown Altered Racer and telling us what it's like to crank down the quarter with that big old motor in front of you and a very, very short wheelbase. On the 13th of July, David Kennedy of the NHRA visits us. So we're going to get to hear right from the top staff there what's going on in the National Hot Rod Association. And on the 20th of July, our friend Eiley Stafford returns. She's been out there running the Nitro Nostalgia Funny Car Circuit and doing a great job. Eiley Stafford was on pretty recently, maybe the last year or two, but we're looking forward to having her back. She wasn't a Nitro Funny Car racer at the time. Now she is. She was driving a dragster then. So we're going to check in with Eiley and find out what it's all about on the Nitro circuit. And then just a heads up, folks, July 27th, the 3rd, and the 10th, just letting you know, Denise and I actually taking a long vacation to Europe. It's going to be our kind of retirement celebration. So we'll be in the UK, we'll be in Ireland, we'll be in Wales, we will be in Scotland, and we're going to wrap it up in Norway. So won't be any shows from July 27th, August 3rd, and August 10th, but we'll tell you all about it when we get back. We're leaving poor Jason here all by himself. So Jason will be living in the house, keeping things going while we're jet setting around the globe. So looking forward to that. But big guests coming up. I really like it. And what people have told me recently, I've talked with a lot of folks as I've walked around the drag strips in the area and around the place. They say, really, really love how you guys have folks, that are not, the stars are amazing, but they really, really like that we have these, just basically, we try to bring the entirety of the sport to you. And I'm really excited about that. And by the way, yeah, WFO Joe, we really had when we got a little video with him down at the Fan Fest, but he indicates that he'd love to come on, but he does a deal every Monday night. So what we're going to do with Joe Castello is get together with him and do a recording, not a live show, but we'll do a recording with Joe at some point. And because I really want to find out how he got started and everything about him. So looking forward to having that show and many, many others coming on. So very excited about that. Let's go on to Lost Friends, folks. We have been gone for 2 weeks, and as often happens with that, we lose a few folks in the interim, and a couple folks that we didn't get a chance to mention the last time. But on the 6th of May, we lost Kyle Loftus, was the founder of 1320 Video. He passed away um, uh, on the 6th, 5th or 6th, but just a wonderful guy who really got the video aspect of drag racing going. A lot of people watch 1320 Video. But farewell to Kyle Loftus. On the 16th, got this from our friend Fred Bear. He said Master Engine Builder Bill Ford passed away after a long medical fight. Farewell to Bill Ford, the engine builder, on the 16th of May. On the 17th, got this from Dave Commel. Van Prothero was a member of the 200-mile-an-hour club out on the bottom of Salt Flats since 1969. He also ran modified eliminator and drag racing in the 70s. Was still racing on the Salt as recently as 2 years ago. And he ran this Camaro, same car on the drag strip in Assault, a 68 Camaro looked like. So Van Prothero, farewell, sir, passed away on the 17th. On the 22nd of May, Dave Smith, the owner-operator of Sacramento Raceway Park, passing away. Dave, big name in the promotion game and track owner game for years and years. Farewell to him. On the 29th, we lost Conrad Bigelow, who was a crew member on the Alex Miladinovich team. We've had Alex on the show before, but farewell to Conrad Bigelow. And on the 29th, Ricard Gustafsson, pardon me, a Swedish top fuel bike racer, passed away just a couple days ago. And then finally on the 30th, well, no, not just finally, two more. Wellborn Maurice Saucier passed away. He ran a 63 Corvette door slammer in match races and quick eight. So farewell to Maurice Saucier. And then a massive, massive name on the 31st, just yesterday, Jack Doyle passed away, an original founder, stockholder, racer, GM, mentor, historian, and a lifelong supporter of New England Dragway. Jack helped turn the dream of permanent drag strip in New England into a reality. Long before the first pair of race cars rolled down the track, he was helping build the foundation that would become New England Dragway. Also, all over the drag lists as a car owner. And just if you talk about New England drag racing, you're talking about Jack Doyle. And thanks to our friend Don Roberts and others for remembering Jack and putting some terrific information online. But a long, long list this week. Unfortunately, that we are of the age, guys. Myself, John, and everybody else who follows these great racers. Our condolences to their family and friends, and thanks for the thrills over the years. We love you, a part of our drag racing family. With that, let me turn it over to John. John, for some final thoughts, sir. You can't get more eloquent than you were, but anything you want to share? We said we say farewell tonight.
Well, it's just great to be back. I really missed having the show for a couple of weeks, and I made the most of it. But now that we're back in the groove, man, I'm starting to pick up steam, and it's feeling real good. And looking forward to the show next week. And it's great to have everybody back on the chat board. And hey, we're up and running, man. It's great.
Let's make it happen, Captain. We got it going on. Let's do a final wrap. We want to thank Mendy Fry, who was amazing Oh my gosh, 2008, was it only that long, or was that long ago? I can't believe it, since we talked with our friend John Bachman, of course, my brother Kate Turkelson, Sophia Roveda, and also thanks to Jeffrey Cormier and Uriel Yamashiro, Pete Mariello, of course, Rob McCabe, David Oakes, Mel Bashore, Ron Toombs, John Myrna II, Dave Waslowski, and Jeff Gilder. Matter of fact, I've talked with Jeff recently. We're going to talk. He's got this Wingding deal where he distributes video. So we're going to talk to Jeff about what we might be able to do together again. Of course, special shout out to Nitro Alley, who always represents us out there on the road. And thanks in heaven to Danny White, the big man himself. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment. Drop us a note down below. Let us know what you like, what we can change to make you your enjoyment of the show a little bit better. Check in on dragloss.com every day to see what's new, and find us on the Radio Bob Network, who showcases our shows thanks to Radio Bob. And finally, next Monday night, we'll see you for Joachim Ljungberg. And I'm getting close, I think. But nonetheless, we're really looking forward to talking to Joachim. And we'll let you know what happened down in North Carolina. Kay and I are going to have a great time. Until then, my name's Bill on behalf of John and Kay and Rob and the rest of the gang. Have a fabulous week.